Hello and welcome to this week's Mistress M. Okay, straight into the viewers' questions. This one's quite a long one, so bear with me. Dear Mistress M, I'm approaching my mid-40s, not had a serious relationship for a while and not dated for a while either, but just lately I've begun to desire a full-on female lead femdom relationship. I've begun to dream about serving the woman, both outside and inside the bedroom. This desire is becoming really strong, and I am now wishing to truly pamper and spoil a woman. Now, I wasn't sure at this point whether he's coming on to me, or he just wants me to read this out on the interwebs. So, we'll just keep reading it out, shall we? Okay. Like giving a woman foot rubs, painting her nails, giving her all-over massages, pouring and making her drinks in the evening. I'm even wishing to cook lovely romantic evening meals, doing most of all the housework. I am basically now wishing to be a woman's slave. I know this sounds weird. Yeah, but good. But this is the way I genuinely feel. I want to find a dominant woman to worship, adore, serve and totally surrender and submit to. I'm looking for a woman to completely control me, not just outside the bedroom, but inside it too. And then I thought maybe he's just getting me to read this out so that any of you out there who wish to be put in this position can contact us. But then he goes on. I have something called Asperger syndrome. This means I cannot pick up on things like body language, facial expressions, and can get really lost in social situations. So how can I get to a place that I'm both attracting the desired type of woman and to know what signals to pick up on? Well, luckily for me, I know someone who knows a lot about Asperger's. So we're going to defer to his expert opinion because the person goes on more with what they're looking for and the fantasies they're having, and, you know, please help me with some practical advice so that they can, you know, marry the woman of their dreams who will dominate them. And what I'm thinking is that perhaps once you deal with some of the Asperger syndromes, maybe you might not necessarily want to be dommed anymore. Thank you, Flash, freaking me out with the tail in my ear. So yeah, we're going to get Adrian to help you with this question, and then we can see whether we can help you find the right sort of person for you. Okay, you'll notice there's a few more people on the couch today. We've got Flash and Boo and Adrian, because this week's question about Asperger's was one that, quite frankly, I took seriously enough to ask Adrian about. Quite seriously, Adrian actually is an expert in this area, so listen and learn, Mr. Asperger's man, from the other Asperger's man.
Indeed. Okay, so when we break up this letter from this fine gentleman who's looking for love in all the right places, essentially what we've got is the way that is probably more useful to help this guy is to go in reverse. The general feel that you get from this letter is that he's probably got a little bit of femme sub-action, dom sub-action going on that excites him, and that's fine. Everyone, you know, gets in a bit of something different.
Nothing wrong with a dominant woman, is there, Adrian?
No. And but more likely, what's probably happened with this guy recently is that there's been some sort of chaos in his world, and he's more likely looking for that thing that most Asperger's folks are looking for, which is repetitive cycles of constructive activity. Asperger's folks have a lot of difficulty sequencing events in any kind of ongoing order.
Basically, if you want to fuck with someone with Asperger's, interrupt them in their sequence. It'll screw with them. Sorry, you were saying, Adrian.
And blow it out your ass. Yeah, get fucked. And
see what I mean? So this guy's looking for some order in his chaotic world. So he's looking for some
order in his chaotic world, and that's understandable. And what he's projected this onto is the idea that a dom woman would basically order his world for him, and that's something that needs to be sort of guarded against straight away, because she won't. It might be a lot of fun and it might work as a relationship really, really well, but she's not going to. She's not going to do every last little thing. She's not going to order every last little thing for him, and he's actually going to have to come up with a lot of initiative. That being said, it's not an impossible task, and in fact, if we go on to the last thing he said in his letter, which is he finds it difficult to pick up on what people are thinking and the gist of what they're feeling from their facial gestures, which is a horrendous problem that pretty much all Aspies face. That in and of itself is not impossible either, and in fact you're probably better off working on that angle first. The way to do it, and the way that worked for me, was to basically treat each encounter with a person like a troika, like a three-step. You have a look at a person, you have a quick look at their face, you have a quick look at what you think they're getting at, and then you record quite carefully in your memory the behaviour they went on to do. So what they look like, what you think they're doing, and what then they actually went on to do. And so you're building up a database of reactions to facial types and facial expressions. What eventually will happen, and it happens pretty quickly, if you're motivated to do this, you'll get a fairly decent database together within about 18 months, less even. You start to be able to predict what these people are going to do. In fact, you start getting pretty good at it if you just keep on studying people's facial shapes, and the big trick here is to understand the process of becoming. What Asperger's people would very much like the world to be is one thing or another thing, but the world isn't like that. The world is always becoming something else, and people's facial gestures are in fact part of the process of people becoming one emotion, becoming another emotion, another thought pattern, another piece of behaviour. And so if you get close to recognising that as people give you a facial gesture or a facial shape or a facial emotion on their head, they are showing you that they're becoming another emotion. And as you build up a database of what these people are doing and what they will do with it, yeah, you'll get on top very quickly of what they're thinking, and recognising what people are doing with their faces. Now, once you've done that, you'll very quickly get hold of the different patterns that different women show you when they're interested in you sexually, platonically, and emotionally. And beyond that, you'll start also to be a bit more on top of your own sequencing, and so that you can choose how deeply you want to get involved in the sub-dom relationship world, and it becomes much more an optional thing for you rather than a need and a craving. So there you go.
There you go. Excellent. Thank you, Adrian.
No.
And good luck with that one. What are you looking at down there? Huh? Doesn't behave as well as Boo, does he? No.